As we've reported, Pope Benedict is the first pope in 600 years to step down. Graziano Marqueschi is the executive director for university ministry at St. Xavier University on the South Side, and he joins us now. Hello, Graziano.
Hi, good to be here with you.
Thanks for joining us. A lot of Catholics, not just the faithful, but leaders among the church, saying they were shocked by the Pope's resignation. It's a rare move and quite a significant change of precedent for a pope to resign. What is the historic significance of this move?
Well, I think the greatest significance is that it really sets an incredible precedent. Everyone's been quoting the fact that others have resigned before, but those were under unique circumstances. One was a hermit who was basically forced to accept the papacy, and after 5 months just decided he couldn't do it and he ran back to his hermitage. The other was during a time of a great schism where two claimants to the papacy, and they both decided to step down so that a third person could take it and sort of end the controversy. This is really the first time that a pope is very willingly and, as he said himself, in full freedom, making that decision to step down, not in the midst of controversy, not because he didn't want it in the first place, but because he sees it's the right thing for the life of the church. He no longer has the strength, not mentally, but physically. He's enfeebled to the point where he just doesn't feel he can carry on. Well, that sets a precedent because up until now, popes simply died in office. There's the tradition of tapping the head of the dead pontiff with the silver hammer to ensure that he's truly dead. That's not going to happen with this pope. His ring will be destroyed, not after his death, but probably in his presence. So now, going forward, popes will know that if they reach a point where the duties of the office are greater than they can handle physically or mentally, that they will have that option to step down and it won't be a new precedent. So this pope is really making a courageous move. It's very bold of him to do this.
Mm-hmm. Pope John Paul II was also very sick for a number of years at the end of his term as pope. But he didn't step down. So do you think that now that Pope Benedict XVI has made this move, that it gives other popes in the future the courage to come forward and step down if they feel they can't continue on? Or is this something that maybe the church needs to look at and say, hey, what about starting to elect younger popes here?
Well, they elected a younger pope when they chose John Paul II. And so we sort of have a history of longer and shorter pontificates and younger and older popes. But sometimes things don't work out the way they're planned. John the 23rd was elected as an elderly man in the hope that he would live only a few years and not really cause too much of a stir. Well, he's the pope that convened the Second Vatican Council, whose 50th anniversary we're celebrating this year, which caused a tremendous change and upheaval within the life of the church. So you can't make those rules with any kind of certainty that they're going to bring about the results that you're hoping for. But I think you're right, that going forward, popes will know that that option now exists to retire if the situation calls for it.
Okay. Next month, the College of Cardinals will gather in Rome to elect the successor to Pope Benedict. Generally, people think of this as a homogenous group and predictable. Do you think this group, with the cardinals today, many of them appointed by Pope Benedict, will use this as an opportunity to implement some sort of change in the church? What is the likelihood of change happening in the church, or will it just be to find a pope that maybe is a little bit more charismatic? What do you think about that?
Well, certainly there are a lot of factors that the electors will be looking for, and a charismatic personality doesn't hurt. John Paul II was one of those popes, and it certainly served him and the church well. But, popes don't come in to pursue their own agenda. Popes come in to do what they believe to be the will of Christ and to serve the church. It's not like the presidency here in the United States. A new president can come in with an agenda that's distinctly different from that of his predecessor. Popes don't work that way. What will probably be the most different possibility with this new conclave is the geography of where the electors will be looking. even though more than half of the cardinals are European, 48 from Italy alone, 24 from the rest of the European continent, out of about 120 who can vote. But I think for the first time, the cardinals will look very seriously at Africa and very seriously at South America. This morning, as I was driving to work and listening to the coverage, I heard one commentator talking about the possibility of a cardinal from Africa being selected, and literally my eyes immediately welled up with tears at the thought that an African might be our next pope. It would be just a powerful witness of not only the universality of the church, but of how the vicar of Christ, the great shepherd of the church, should look more like the poor of the church, those humble ones that Christ cared about the most. The church says it has a preferential option for the poor. And for someone to come from a part of the world that is identified more closely with the poor rather than those of us who are more privileged, I think would be a historic moment.
Mr. Marchese, we want to thank you for joining us. You brought up a very good point about the possibility of the successor pope being elected coming from a third world country, which in fact is probably the largest growing Catholic base out there. Am I correct there?
Absolutely, yeah.
So we thank you very much for your insight into this, and the world will be watching. We will be watching to see who the College of Cardinals will elect.
My pleasure, and let's pray for the new pope.
Graziano Marchese is the Executive Director for University Ministry at St. Xavier University on the South Side. Thank you again.
God bless.